Good morning. Let's go live whilst I'm sitting in a lot of traffic on the M1 heading north, and it actually is an appropriate situation to be in to do this live stream, this subject on this live stream. And the subject this morning actually comes from a conversation I had with a friend just recently, and so that's what gave me the idea to talk about this subject, that if you feel at home on this planet, there is something wrong with you. I was having this discussion with my friend recently, and she basically said that she had felt that way all her life. And I didn't even have to nod my head in agreement, because she was taking the words out of my mouth if I'd expressed the words, you know. But she was saying that, you know, from a kid, she had felt like she just wasn't at home on this planet, you know. And the way I would describe it is that we feel like we're aliens, basically. And you know, as I sit in the traffic here this morning, heading north to Brisbane, and I'm not in my car because not risking driving my car at the moment. If you've read what's happened, it's going great. It feels fantastic. It's got a new set of tyres on it. It's, you know, it's great. But above 60 kilometres an hour, it goes tick 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 tick, and the faster I go, the louder it gets, and it's quite noticeable. I put the window down. I'm like, geez. Put the window up and I don't hear it, but, you know, or I can barely hear it. So it ties in with this live stream. So if you feel at home on this planet, there is something wrong with you. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that basically life on this planet is a constant struggle. That some of us from the earliest age have felt this and have noticed that the moments of peace and the moments of getting things together and things running well for us are often few and far between. And there's always this feeling of impending doom, knowing that something's, you know, going to always be a struggle, a challenge. There's always an uphill battle. And, you know, just look at your own life. Look at all the things that you're faced with on a micro level, and then on a macro level, so on a day-to-day level. I mean, here's one right now. I am sitting in traffic. I'm doing 20 kilometres an hour. I'm stopping actually. There's a merging lane coming in with heaps of cars in it. You know, I'm heading north to pick something up from a place that closes in Brisbane at 12 o'clock. So I've got to hope that I can get there at that time. I've already made an arrangement to meet a friend for lunch, and, you know, it's like, okay, it may not happen, you know. Now, you might say, well, that's a first world problem, and it is. It's a first world problem. So let's look at a third world problem where the struggles are life and death struggles, not struggles of maybe just being late to somewhere or not being able to get somewhere at all because it'll close. You know, like the place I'm going to today will close at 12 o'clock. But let's look at life and death struggles in a third world situation where the figures are 20,000 to possibly 40,000 people dying per day from malnutrition, from starvation. Let's try and find a bit of movement here. These are the realities, the struggles facing people in some parts of the world. They're facing extreme situations of violence in many parts of the world. Life is not pleasant at all. We see a snippet of it on the news, and we're so far removed from it that you know, we feel like it doesn't affect us at all unless we have some connection with it through friends or family or something like that. But if we were in that situation, if we were in that country, that would be our reality. That would be what we'd be facing on a day-to-day basis. We'd be facing the struggle to get fresh water, the struggle to be safe, the struggle to have housing and sanitation, basic needs met. Here in a first world country, I mean, gosh, you know, we're like
stressing out if we can't find a parking spot down the beach. You know, we're stressing out if there's too many people in the line at the supermarket. What have we got to worry about? And yet, it's a struggle. It's a relative thing. It's still a struggle. It's our struggle of trying to find peace. So, why? Why is it like that here? Why is it like that on this planet? So a lot of us, the deep thinkers, when I say us, I talk about deep thinkers, people that feel from the heart, that have pondered this from the youngest age, just like my friend who said to me earlier in the week that, you know, she's never felt at home here. And boy, I just could so relate to it. I've never felt at home here. And I've always felt it to be a struggle on so many different levels to cope with different things, from my own mind and emotions and fears to interactions with other people to you know, many different things that come up. And as I say, these are first world problems, and we have it so good here compared to other parts of the world that when we start looking at other parts of the world, then it's, you know, it's like I'm worrying about the fact that I've got a ticking noise coming from my car, which otherwise is a beautiful car to drive. In other countries, you know, they don't have the luxury of having any sort of transport. They're worrying about whether they get through another day without being killed or something like that. And whether they can, you know, have their sanitation needs met, and whether they can get drinking water. And there's Noelle's posted a really big comment there, which I appreciate. I'm not going to be able to read it while I'm driving, or at least I'll give it a shot. I'm sorry, it's too long a comment for me to focus on whilst I'm driving, so I will have to look at that when I'm stopped. So I'm sorry I can't respond to that now, Noelle, but I appreciate it, and I will reply to it later. And the traffic's flowing now, so wonderful. The reason why is it such a struggle on this planet? Because it is not our natural home. It's that simple. Remember, whenever we ask questions, a general thing to understand is that the answer is always inherently simple. It's so simple, the answers to questions, especially deep questions, that we overlook them, that we get tied up in mental speculation, and we don't actually see the obvious. And the obvious is, if we are struggling so hard here, then it's obvious that we're not meant to be here. It's that simple. We are fish out of water, and if we were meant to be on this planet, we would be at peace here. We would find life easy. We would find that life works for us. We would not find the challenges that we find between people and between species and with nature and all the challenges that we're faced all the time. We are facing all these challenges because this is not our natural home. Okay, so if this is not our natural home, what the hell are we doing here? Why are we here? Why the hell are we? I mean, these are genuine, deep, spiritual questions that people start asking when faced with challenges. They're like, you know, why am I struggling? And then if we come to the understanding through spiritual introspection that we're struggling because it's not our natural place to be here, then the next thing is, why the hell are we here? So the answer to that question is because we made a decision so long ago, so far away, that we can't even recognize the decision that we made. And the decision that we made brought us here. And it's a decision that was, in hindsight, incredibly dumb, but it was a decision made out of enviousness. I could almost say made out of jealousy, but made out of enviousness, that we wanted to be our own God, basically. We wanted to be our own creator, our own Lord. We wanted to be king shit, as I call it. So we got the shit. That's the bit we got. We got stuck with all the shit. And the funny thing is, look around and you will see just about everybody still trying to be king shit. Just about everybody trying to control everything around them and constantly being thwarted, constantly being met with
challenges at every corner, every day. Challenges from financial to health to personal relationship challenges, work challenges, to, just when something goes well for us, it doesn't last long. The material nature is that it just doesn't last long. I just got a good run then on the highway, I hit the traffic again. I have a good day with my health, the next day my tooth is aching, or I've scratched myself, or in my case I've broken my ankle, or I've broken my knee, or had like a major accident, which I've had now. So some people get a good run, a relatively good run, but nobody gets out alive. And the body that we are traveling in is deteriorating, and everything around us is deteriorating from the moment we start off with it. So we start off with this body, and from day one it's actually deteriorating. The same thing, we buy a new car, from the moment we bought it, it's deteriorating. You're putting mileage on it, it's losing its value, it's generating wear and tear on it. Anything you buy starts to deteriorate from the moment you bought it. It's gathering dust, it's gathering, material objects, they get dirty, they get, they don't, your best your best day is the day you got it, and then from then on it just gets worse. So we understand that we're not from here. That's why we struggle so much here. So we understand that we came here because of an enviousness to try and be our own God, basically. We understand that it doesn't work, that we have a limited amount of power, and all we end up with is frustrated, angry, depressed, because we cannot be God. We cannot control everything that we want to, the way we want to control it. It just doesn't happen. We have the opportunity to try it, and we actually just become frustrated through it. So what's the solution? The solution is to understand this. The solution is to see that this is actually what's going on. The dumb thing is to try and make heaven here on earth. That's dumb. That's just dumb. That's very limited thinking. That's not understanding that we will not find our happiness here. That's not seeing the lesson. That's not seeing that everything we've tried has ended up in a problem somewhere down the track. It's just not understanding it. It's ignoring it. It's keeping our head in the sand. So the smart thing is to wake up. I'm asking you to wake up. I'm trying to help you here and say wake up and realize the challenges that you are faced with continue, and they get, as you get older, you're facing things that you cannot get away from. Old age, diseases, and death of the body. These are the challenges you cannot run away from. So you either try to ignore them and just keep buying things and keep pretending that your happiness is to be found here by satisfying your body, or you gain a little bit of insight, you gain a bit of wisdom, you look within, you start using your intelligence, you start connecting with your heart, and you start saying, you know what, there's got to be more to life than this. This just goes on, this pain goes on, and the older I get, my family members are passing away. I've lost my mum, I've lost my dad, I've lost my brother, I've lost my sister, and my friends have died. I've had accidents, I've got cancer, I've got diabetes, I've got all these things. It's like they're all little reminders that things are not permanent for the body that you're traveling in. And the smartest thing you can do is look for the spiritual solution. Stop looking for your happiness in material things. Look for it as a spiritual solution, and go within and start following a spiritual path, and start finding the answers on a much deeper level. This will actually bring you a degree of peace, a degree of understanding, a better degree of compassion for others, tolerance and love, because you actually understand what's going on. You're actually coming from a true understanding of wisdom. So when you come from that and you find that peace because you're actually got that connection with wisdom and with the love in your heart, then you are able to express that outwards to others. You're able to have true compassion for others. You're able to have true empathy for others. You're actually able to be of service to others. And that's the way you do it. So I implore you to look for something that resonates with your heart on a spiritual level. Meditate. As I say, yoga is also a wonderful thing to do because it brings you into that frame of mind. It brings you into that heart connection. And these things help when you find yourself up against the wall yet again, struggling with depression and anger and frustration and all the things that we struggle with, because this is not our home. We are fish out of water. We are going to keep struggling until we can understand the reason why that struggle is happening. So I hope that this connects with you. I hope that you can get something from this. I share this with you because this is the result of decades of introspection from myself and from friends around me, and decades of questioning from my youngest point, questioning why there is pain in this world, why there is a struggle, why the hurt, why are things so hard. From my youngest memories, I've been asking these questions. The things that have helped have been spiritually based. That's where I take my solace from. And look, it's still hard. It's still hard because it's not our natural home. Robert says, wise words, Harry. Great video, full of great information. Thank you. Thank you for appreciating it, Robert, and for connecting with the message. And yes, look, for those of us on a spiritual path, it's still hard because this is not our natural home. The best way I can describe it is, in some ways, being on the spiritual path is harder in some ways because some of us remember where we came from. Some of us feel it's like it's a feeling rather than a memory. It's better to describe it. It's a resonation within. Some of us feel it, and we feel the separation. We feel the separation from it, and that hurts. So, I actually, I feel emotional talking about that, because if you remember where you came from and you're not there, it's, it can hurt. So those that connect on a spiritual level, we feel those things, and it can be hard. So we take solace in our spiritual understanding and spiritual connection. So thank you, everyone, for watching, and you'll probably appreciate the emotion that I'm expressing here at the end, because, we feel these things very deeply, especially highly sensitive people. Anyway, thank you. And now the traffic's flowing, I might actually be able to solve one of my first world problems, which is to get to my appointment in Brisbane before they close, and then to get and have lunch with a friend, and I'll post some pickies of that later. And a big shout out to my PA, who has loaned me her car today so that I can travel safely to Brisbane, knowing that my car is still got an undiagnosed fault at this stage. So thank you guys. Live vegan and save lives. And I will do another live stream really soon. Ahimsa.